Oh, my brother, Dsarti1. Dsarti number 1. This guy has great videos on survival stuff, food storage, gardening, livestock, the whole 9 yards. You know, the bug out bag, you know, the whole 9 yards. This guy's got fantastic videos. I found him, God, it must have been, it seems like a couple years ago now, I don't know. And then I forgot his name, and it was like, what was that guy's name? I can't remember, so I never figured out how I could find him again on YouTube. So, was it last night or Friday night? I'm in watching Pastor Dowell's blog talk show, and he's in there chatting, and then the name popped up, Dsarti1. I was like, hey, I think that was that guy's name. So I asked him. He was like, yeah, that's him. It's me. So I was like, oh, okay. So we were chatting for a little bit. So I quickly went to YouTube to subscribe to him again, because I'm interested in some of the videos he did about the survival type of, you know, the survival side of things. So I'm in bed right now, or was, and I'm just checking my phone, looking at my YouTube, you know, subscriptions. Oh, Dsarti went ahead and put up a video. In this video, gold, today's full investment, ? November 2011. So I went ahead and listened to this. Where did he say this? Anyways, yeah, gold, today's full investment, ? November 2011. He goes on to say, you could buy 10 acres of land. He was just pulling up some area, I'm not sure exactly where, in the United States, you know, land for sale. Now, I noticed the picture he put up of that land for sale was from 2007. Meaning, the person who took the picture with the camera, you know how your camera can have the date attached to it, said something, I forgot the exact month, I have to go look at the video again, but nonetheless, it was 2007. So this property he's talking about must have been on the market since 2007, or maybe someone bought it thinking prices would go up, and then tried to resell it again, didn't work, here we are, you know, fixing to be 2012, 4 years later, and it's the same picture trying to be sold online. So keep that in mind, because he says there's 10 acres with a pond. What kind of stupid idiot would go and buy gold right now at today's prices when you can get this particular piece of property of 10 acres with a pond for $43,000? He also says gold is in a bubble right this second, and it will pop. You know, right now, current prices, this is the bubble, and it's going to pop. Now, I got to touch on that a little bit, because Dsarti1 is definitely know what he's talking about when it comes to the survival stuff, food storage, all that. Man, he's top notch. Ham radio gear and all that, man, fantastic. Communications, great. But when it comes to gold and silver, listen, Dsarti1, step in my office. Why? Because you're freaking fired. My brother, I couldn't believe, could not believe this video just came out of your account, from you. And it was you doing the video. Gold is not in a bubble yet. And, by the way, as much as I love gold and silver, and I preach people to get it, I have been telling people lately, expect a pretty good-sized downward push on gold and silver. Again, these are paper-traded assets. Therefore, the price on Wall Street, or the COMEX in this case, futures exchange, sets the price of the real physical asset. The problem with this is, and this goes with all commodities, oil included, is these exchanges, I'm going to use the example of gold and silver, claim on paper they have X number, whatever, million ounces of silver and etc., you know, millions of ounces of gold, millions of ounces of silver, whatever it is. Therefore, they are the ones who create these paper contracts and allow people to trade them. And of course, they get their fees by people trading them back and forth. The problem is, it is leveraged, at least silver specifically, 100 to 1, possibly much greater than that, leveraged. Meaning, what they really have in their possession that's supposed to back all this paper is a complete tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of what needs to be there, technically, for the amount of paper contracts they have. But these bankers, these financiers, which again, history tells you the same thing. They did it with gold a few hundred years ago. We'll hold all the rich people's gold, and when you need to get it out from somewhere else rather than come cross country over here, just take this little piece of paper. It's a little gold note. You can go to a local exchange over there and get your gold out. We'll sign it and stamp it, and you can take that with you. Kind of like a check. And then the bankers realized these people hardly ever come for their gold. We could lease this gold to other folks and charge these fees for holding and storing the gold. And we will lease it out to other parties, at interest, of course. Because these rich people, they never come get their gold anyway. Just a little bit here and there. And what happened? Massive, what we would call today, a bank run, except on the gold. And a lot of people got screwed because they allowed these financial institutions with their vaults and security to hold their gold, promise they wouldn't do this. We're not going to lend it out. It's going to be here. It's safe. It is so good. You have nothing to worry about. History tells you, wrong. You've been had, and a lot of people lost their gold. The same thing that's happening right now with your 401k, your IRAs, any kind of mutual fund, any nonsense that's on paper, as Lindsey Williams says, if it's written on a piece of paper, it is not worth the paper it's written on. What about gold and silver? That's interesting, because we don't have gold and silver on a piece of paper and that's it. We actually have real physical gold and silver, but there's paper that basically speculates on the price of gold and silver. So it's like a bet, like a horse race, and you're betting on what the horse is going to do, which horse is going to win, right? The horse's performance. That's kind of what these futures contracts are, except they have to really be there. A futures contract allows you to buy it out in full and demand delivery on the full product. But the bankers make it so lucrative, you could leverage. All you need is 10%. You want to play with 5,000 ounces of silver? Just come up with 10% of the money and several thousand more dollars on top of that for the margin, initial margin, $15,000, whatever. And then the maintenance margin, another 12, 13, 14, whatever that ends up being $15,000. You can play the game. But you get to play with $200,000 worth of silver for $30,000. If it moves up $1, you just made $5,000 in your pocket. So they know people want to play that paper. Why mess with the real thing? I'm leveraged freaking 10 to 1 here. Only a bozo would want real physical gold and silver. There ain't no money to be made in that. And then they recognize that 1% maybe of all these paper contracts actually demand delivery. And they've seen this for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, whatever. So in their minds, man, this ain't going to change. It's still going to be that 1% demanding delivery, the other 99% just moving the paper around. Man, do you know how much tiny amount of gold and silver we can keep in these vaults and just create fake contracts that are backed by nothing and then just rape everybody with all these little fees to play the game? Wow, let's do it. That's why gold and silver aren't in a bubble yet. When that comes out, and it's going to come out, we're getting close to that, the price of gold and silver will explode to levels no one's never could have ever imagined, except for, of course, us conspiracy theorists, right? Which, again, the conspiracy theorists will be right again, as usual. But I have to make this video response because, A, sure, we could see gold and silver get smashed. That's why I told everyone I'm out on the sidelines with a little bit of cash right now, specifically for silver. And currently, as I'm doing this video, in case you're wondering, the price of silver, and this is the overseas market, gold's down like $10, whatever. Silver was down 50 cents last time I looked, whatever, which was just a few minutes ago anyways. Could they crash down? Yeah. And it may actually make Dsarti1's comment look valid, because you're going to say, hey, he actually was right. It wasn't a bubble, it just crashed. It's not in a bubble yet. The paper markets are fighting basically the physical holders, such as myself and others. So they are trying tooth and nail to suppress the price of gold and silver. They've been doing this. Again, I've done all these videos about the CFTC. They can't define the word swaps now, so we can't have our 60 days from that day they define the word swaps. 60 days after that, we will have our margin, our position limits in place for the silver market specifically, and other markets, but again, we're concerned with silver. We can't do that because MF Global just went belly up, and there's We got to do an investigation. So the task of us defining the word swap has currently been put on hold. This is so that they can manipulate the price of gold and silver down. I'm telling you all right now, and you also, Dsarti, there's no way in hell, not now, not $1,900 silver, not $500 silver, not $1,000 silver, not $1,500 silver. Is it a bad time to buy, or excuse me, gold? Is it a bad time to buy gold? And with silver, not at $50 silver, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5, 7. Is it a bad time to buy silver either? All of those prices will be great to buy silver and gold, because when you see where the price of silver and gold ultimately go due to this massive financial collapse that is currently unwinding as we speak in Europe, and will of course trickle on right over here to America, because the biggest banks in America, you know who the top 10 banks are, I don't even have to name them, are heavy duty invested into Europe and the bonds and this crap that is exploding over there right now. And there's not enough money in the system to bail them out when they lose that bet. So, what happens when people lose everything and other people who haven't quite lost everything and are losing see those other people losing, and then see something like what happened to Gerald Celente with the futures contract, specifically in gold, get screwed by the paper market? MF Global screwed him, the CME screwed him, and the CFTC, which is the regulator of the CME, and the CME regulates itself somehow, imagine that. No one could figure this out. MF Global, we didn't see it coming, of course. Unexpectedly, this happened. And now he's out of his money. And he was demanding delivery for December gold, and they stomped him out. You lose, Gerald Celente. Sorry. Why would they do that? Oh, that's right. They've got to make good 200 tons of gold to Hugo Chavez. They never expected, again, unexpectedly, Hugo Chavez or anybody else to say, hey, you guys are storing our gold over in the London, vaults, uber secure. Yeah, we want to go ahead and get it back on our property now. If we own it, we've been paying you security fees. Yeah, that's nice, thanks, but we want it back now. Oh crap, we weren't expecting that. We've already got Chavez's gold leased out 100 ways from Sunday. Crap. Of course, they don't tell you that. They don't tell Chavez that, or anybody else who has their gold, foolish enough to have their gold over there. But we got to make good on this immediately. Okay, you really think they're going to let the ex-CEO of Goldman Sachs, when the entire upper cabinet of our government is Goldman Sachs employees, you think they're going to let an ex-Goldman alumni, head of MF Global now, you think they're not going to bail him out and let him collapse? You really think that they did that? Oh, just a bank bit the dust, bank holding company or whatever, bit the dust. No. It was more like, listen, Corzine, we noticed a lot of, you guys play you are the broker, right, for all these contracts. We noticed you got a lot of delivery for gold this month. Again, we're the CME group and the CFTC. We know exactly who's got what going on. Corzine, it's time to take one for the team, buddy. You're not going to see any jail time. We're going to give you another position as soon as this is over. We need you to stop out all of these contracts. How can we do that? Boom. No problem. I got it covered, boys. MF Global bankrupt next day. And everyone who had contracts, paper exchanges, for the paper exchanges that was using MF Global, sorry. We're going to investigate, and until then, we can't give you your gold, we can't give you even your contract, and we can't even return the money that you thought you had in your account. All of it's gone, and we're going to have to investigate what happened and see if we can get some of this back. But for one thing for sure, ain't nobody getting their gold that they had on for December contract delivery. Perfect timing. Now we can take that and give it to old Chavez. Boy, it seems like they're running pretty low, doesn't it? So, I want to touch back on Dsarti's statement. 10 acres with a pond. What kind of stupid idiot would buy gold when you can get this for $43,000? $3,000 gold is going to probably be laughed at in the near future, the next few years. So, if a person who doesn't have $43,000 in cash right now to go buy that piece of property that looks like it's been for sale since 2007, since it's the same picture you posted, tells me we are still deflating real estate bubble, that $43,000 10 acres over the next 2 to 3 years while gold skyrockets. And again, short-term period, I'm calling for a downward push on gold and silver for sure. My opinion, of course. But if it goes down, and even if it gets smashed, oh my God, gold's back to $800-900. Holy crap. Silver's down to 15. Oh my God. That's what I'm talking about. That's not the bottom. The bubble did not burst. Get ready for people loading the boat and to take it to the next level. That's what will happen. It will not be the end of gold and silver. They have not been in a bubble yet. That bubble will start to inflate when that happens. And then watch where the price goes. So what I'm saying is, when gold blows past $1,700, $1,800, $1,900 after this little crash or whatever happens, looks far back in the rearview mirror of those prices, that same $43,000 10 acres is probably going to be $30,000, $25,000, etc. Because real estate is currently deflating. It hasn't stopped. New numbers just came out in Tampa, Florida. And again, I know that's not out in the country, but either way, across the board, real estate prices are still declining. Unemployment's not getting better. In any kind of depressionary deal, economic, whatever, prices of houses and land, all that stuff does not go up. It goes down, it crashes. The garbage that we don't need, the webcam I'm using right now, the 24-inch screen monitor I have, the little LCD TV, that crap will come way down in price too because you don't need it. The really, really big things you do need, which coincidentally doesn't include housing, but food, energy, gas, that kind of stuff, usually skyrockets up. And then after the deflationary period, we have across the board pretty much inflation. That's when you could see housing and other things start to spike again. But at the same time, I don't know that housing is going to spike all of a sudden. I think other things will spike first because these banks aren't going to be in a position to loan people money. And there ain't a person in the world, well, let me back up. Most people, huge portion of people, don't and will not have the cash to go buy a piece of property or land or house, etc. with cash money. Unless they invested in silver right now, gold right now, or they wait for the near future here when they crash down a little bit, or maybe a lot, and then wait for the money shot to go way back up. Again, even if you're buying at $1,700 gold and whatever we're at, $31, $32 silver, $100 silver is going to be, everyone's going to get used to that number. It's not going to take long. So I have a hard time saying people must be a stupid idiot to buy gold right now when they can have land basically for $43,000. When I'm telling people, you might even want to wait on the sidelines still due to the situation in Europe, as I've explained in the last several videos. You could buy at the bottom, but even if you don't have any gold or silver right now, it is not worth waiting to see for sure if they get crashed down. You got to have some no matter what. Maybe take half your investment, buy right now, and then sit on the sidelines like I'm doing with a little bit more cash and say if it does crash down, I'll go in even more. If for some reason it spikes up $2 or $3 in one day, I'm just going to have to get back in and buy the rest of my investment. Meanwhile, that 10 acres is going to go down, 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 down in price. Gold and silver has been money for 6,000 plus years. I don't think this little tiny paper money experiment, central bank, etc., experiment, if you will, is going to prove 6,000 years of history wrong. Ain't going to happen. He says you can take 150 to 200,000 and build an ultimate survival retreat with solar panels and all. That's true. But I don't know if there's even one of my subscribers that has that kind of cash sitting on the sidelines. Most people don't. But they can come up with $30 for silver here and there. Can you imagine if we see $200, $300, $400 silver 3-4 years from now, whatever, big collapse happens, everyone's freaking out, paper money's finished, everyone's freaking out. What do they do when they freak out? What does history show? They run to gold and silver out of control. That will be the bubble that gets created. That will be when I'm on here calling all my subscribers on YouTube, yellow, listen everybody, sell. Sell for paper money? Yes. It's $300 today, whatever. Sell. All of it. Done. Now go buy your land. Matter of fact, now that you've got, $100,000 on a little $3,000 or $4,000 investment you made, see how much that little 10 acres is going for? $20,000? Good. And I've got $80,000 left. Why? Because I bought gold and silver. Keep that in mind. He says to buy some handguns because the prices for those will skyrocket when the poop hits the fan, and then sell them for approximately 3 times the amount you bought them for. Now, there's one thing in this country that there is absolutely positively plenty of. It is any and all types of firearms. Now, granted, it might be a good idea to buy a bunch of ammo to have with any firearm you have, because those prices are increasing. Prices for handguns or guns in general isn't really going up like you would expect some other commodity, gold or silver. Gold and silver, again, just the last 8 to 10 years, silver had hit around 1,000% increase during some of the high period. Gold, even today, is up around, I think, 800-something% in the last 8+ years. Do you know how much a handgun, a $500 handgun, would cost if it went up 800%? Well, simple math, 8 times that amount. Have you seen something 8 years ago, your favorite Glock handgun 8 years ago, or any time in the last 8 years, normally sell whatever retail price, whatever the normal price is, even double? Has a Glock 8 years ago? Could you pick up a Glock for like $250, $300 when you have to now pay like, $550, $600? No, that's not the case. It's barely increased in price. So you would be, in my opinion, anybody would be foolish to dump a bunch of money into a bunch of handguns or even any kind of guns without having that silver first. Because when that silver goes up in price, or gold, when that time comes, major push up, the amount of guns you can buy will make your head spin, and you'll have plenty of silver and gold left over to buy your land, to buy your food storage, and your guns, etc. That's why you've got the first thing on the list, silver. Second thing, food storage, I would say. And any of these orders is probably okay. Silver and gold, food storage, some kind of weapon with a decent amount of ammunition to protect your family. If stuff gets really terrible, worse than anyone ever thought, you want to protect what you have. Plain and simple. So you have to have those 3 things as a minimum. But in my eyes, get the silver and gold first. That way, if you say, well, I've lost my job, whatever, pretend like that silver doesn't exist, and then just wait till the timing's right for you. Wow, silver's double what I paid for it. Let me sell a little bit, get some food storage. Hey, it's up even more. Let me sell a bit more and get my Glock or whatever your favorite handgun or whatever is. Done. And you still have some silver and gold left. There's no way buying silver and gold is a bad idea ever. I mean, ever. Now, granted, there will be one time that it's going to be a bad idea to buy it. And that's when gold's like sickly out of control priced and silver is blowing people's minds of how high it is. And then someone decides, oh, I better get in now. And then the bubble bursts. All the governments come out with a new currency, something. It's backed by gold and silver. Everything settles down. The prices drop again. And you got in at the top. We have not even closely seen the top with $1,900 silver, much less $1,700 today. We have not even come close to seeing the top of silver when we hit it back in April, $50 silver. Not even close. That's why you have to buy these things. It is a fire sale. At $30 silver right now is a fire sale. And I have plenty, which is why I'm gambling on the price coming down more. And it's already lower than what I got from the dealer. It was 34 and some change. I got back 33 and some change for these Indian heads. And we're pushing $31 and some change as I'm doing this video right now. So, looks like, my advice was right on that. And we'll just have to see where it goes this week. Again, Tuesday and Wednesday are pretty important dates. It's already looking like Wednesday. Forget it already looking like it. They've already said it. The Committee of 12 can't come to an agreement on the deficit. However, we're good till 2013. That's when the cuts will automatically kick in. Which is interesting, why we have a whole extra year there. But nonetheless, is that news good or bad for the markets? Not going to probably be too good for the markets. And again, looking at the overnight stuff going on now, if it's any indication how tomorrow will go, it's probably not going to be too pretty. And again, Monday, Tuesday, especially Tuesday, is options expiration for the paper, gold, silver, whatever. And they always like to hit it down. So be prepared. You may want to get ready to jump in. if you don't feel comfortable waiting for even lower, then maybe $28 silver. If I see $28 silver, my gut instinct is telling me, wait, it's going to go lower. And I'm going to wait. It's not a bad idea to buy. By no means is it a bad idea to buy. So, one last thing he said is that gold and silver has gone up and gone down and gone up and gone down. They are more expensive now. Well, he says guns. Excuse me. Gold and silver up and down, but guns haven't done that up and down, up and down. They've been steadily climbing, he says. Which is true, they have steadily, but just kind of like, average things go up steadily. It's just constant. Guns are no different. They are more expensive now, but so is a house, so is a car, so is food, so is everything, basically. Except the garbage you don't need, which doesn't count. Ammo is also costing a lot more, he says, which is true. That is true. But you can get ammo at any point as well. Gold and silver do go up and down, and history says that. Especially when you get rid of them as money and tell the whole world it's not money anymore. Yet, when old Ben Bernanke was asked by Ron Paul, is gold money? No. Central banker who stockpiles massive amounts of gold himself for the Federal Reserve, Ben Bernanke, no, gold's not money. Ron Paul then says, then why do central banks hoard it? Tradition. Tradition. Just an old family tradition. Oh, okay. And then I'm looking at the numbers. India, China, Russia, freaking Mexico. Out of control buying gold and silver. Out of control. What do you think that means? It means you haven't seen nothing, and if there's going to be a big crashing of gold and silver, these countries don't care one way or the other. They seem to know something's coming after all this happens, and that's what they're in preparation mode for in buying gold and silver. So, all you have to do is ride their coattails. Well, if they're getting into it, I guess I should get into it. I'm telling you right now, no way, no how, not a fat chance in hell has gold been in a bubble and silver been in a bubble yet. When we're talking of the destruction of the paper currency system, the paper markets across the world, which is taking place, bonds, the EU, it's going to collapse, it's guaranteed, they will be breaking apart. It only means one thing for gold and silver. They will skyrocket sooner or later. When in the inner rim, up, down, big ups, big downs, big ups, big downs, means nothing. The ultimate goal, 3-4 years from now, where's your silver and gold investment going to be? And I think it'll be shocking in a fantastic way. And if you compare the price then to gold, a piece of land, etc., you will see, did I say gold? I meant gun, land, property, etc., versus the gold and silver. You'll recognize, oh my God, can I buy a lot of land, gold, or guns, livestock, survival, house, whatever the hell you want. And you're going to look back and say, man, and here I was wondering if I should get back in at $28 and $30 and $40 silver. What an idiot I was 3 years ago, Or what an idiot I would have been if I didn't buy it back then. It's worth, $80, $90, $100 now. History, history, history. So while I love Dsarti1, this guy has fantastic survival information. Great. Your advice on never about getting into gold and silver right now, I can't agree with you on that. I'm sorry. Even though I know and feel there has to be some more downward pushing movement on gold and silver so that the elite themselves can buy up the depressed priced asset that they always want. They always do this. And $1,700 silver, even though it's going to be going way past that, again, when this all goes down, $1,700 gold, they don't want to pay $1,700 for the gold. Nah, the elite don't play like that. They will destroy the prices, gold and silver, and other commodities that they wish to buy up, and then ride the train up. They will have their gold and silver in their possession when that takes place, which I suspect will follow the coattails of the movements out of Europe with that whole nonsense going on over there, which is incredible. The MF Global thing. Now there's 6 or 7 banks you know who again, which banks, are being sued for some fraudulent activity regarding those bonds that MF Global, I guess, was issuing or whatever, that those banks issued on behalf of MF Global or whatever. So you can see, long-term view, all that, how's that going to affect the banking and market, stocks, the stock market and everything? It's bad news. Bad news. Paper prices set gold and silver prices too. So there has to be a decoupling first. That decoupling, I feel, is approaching sometime in the near future. And when that takes place, it won't matter what prices gold and silver are at, or if they were currently falling flat and everyone was freaking out because they were going down. Then you have the decoupling. Oh my God, the paper market has been exposed. They don't have the silver, they don't have the gold, they can't make good on the deliveries, yet the prices are plummeting. What the hell's going on? Boom, that little link in the chain breaks. Whole new price level for gold and silver. COMEX is completely destroyed because they couldn't make good on the paper that they said they could, because it was backed by crap or by physical that they didn't have, that they said they did have, etc. So it's those kind of events that I have in the back of my mind that says when something like that occurs, it'll be a game changer instantly. So when's it going to happen? Is silver and gold going to crash first and then it'll happen after that? Or while it's crashing, could that happen? Or while the price is rising, could that happen? Yes, 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 and yes. It could happen. And I have, in any of those examples, I just don't know when. Which is why you should just keep stacking, honestly, and don't stop. My wife was just telling me, hey, maybe we should buy some more right now. Price is, it's cheaper than when you sold, which is true. But I got a sneaky suspicion, knowing these bankers, like I've come to know from all the research, these prices are too high for them. They don't want to get in at $30 silver. They're not going to want to get in at $1,700 gold. You kidding? They destroy the price of things, and then they go buy it all up. JP Morgan has done it over and over and over and over again. Just as recently as the 2008 crisis. They got, what was it, Bear Stearns or whatever, for pennies on the dollar. All JP Morgan. How did that happen? 1929 market crash. They bought up all the banks that they wanted. Pennies on the dollar. How did that happen? Same guy keeps doing it. The same company anyways. He's dead now. JP Morgan. The original. So you have to know history to make some of these moves. And these are big moves. Me sitting on the sidelines, of all people that you know, everybody listening to this, Mr. Silver, Jason at 4, sitting on the sidelines with cash right now, why wouldn't he be buying at $31 silver? Because I think I'm going to have a big payday, so to speak, when the prices come down even more. I told you last week I'm waiting for Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday, which was the news about the Committee of 12, and it's already Sunday night, and they're already saying we're pretty much throwing the towel, we can't come to an agreement, and we already have to have an agreement 48 hours before Wednesday, which basically means Monday, and we're not going to, we can't come to an agreement. Have a nice day. So that's not too good of news for the market. We also have options expiration, as I mentioned, on Tuesday technically. So this week, we got to see what happens to gold and silver pretty good. Downward is what I'm talking about. Anyways, I had to make this video as a video response to Dsarti1 because I don't think he understands the real fundamentals that actually drive gold and silver long term. But again, I only gave you 8 years of example. 7, 8, 9,000, 900, 800, 900,000% increases in the price of silver and gold over the last 8 years roughly. There has been nothing that has performed like that. Nothing. And if it was in a bubble, it clearly hasn't popped, has it? And if it does pop, you have to look at the fundamentals. Well, what caused the prices to rise in the first place? Oh, all of this paper crap failing. Oh, okay. And it's all paper backed by nothing. And it's still there, and it's grown exponentially over the last 8 to 10 years, especially since 2008 bailout, 2009, 2010, 2011. It's even more enormous. That's what's going to push the price of gold and silver way, way up. But the catch is that it'll bring them down first, most likely, because they are traded as a piece of paper like the rest of the paper garbage, except they are real assets being traded. Unlike a lot of these derivatives and credit default swaps, protection, all that crap, it's just paper backed by freaking nothing. So I had to do this video response. I love you, Dsarti, but don't you ever say that gold and silver was in a bubble. At least not right now. And again, they could come down. I'm expecting them to come down. And then they will be a phenomenal investment instead of just being a good investment right now. So I love you, brother, but I had to do this video response. I'm sorry. Everyone else, take care.